Class 6 English Comprehension. Today our lesson is from The Ransom of the Red Chief. Comprehension and vocabulary is going to be focused upon, and we will be working on textbook page number 15 to 25. It will take us about 70 minutes to complete the tasks, so get your pencils, erasers and sharpeners ready so you do not have to run around during the lesson. By the end of today's lesson, we should be able to identify the main series of events of the story The Ransom of the Red Chief, recognize the meanings of the difficult word, answer the given questions of comprehension, listen to Johnny's speech to find out what happened, act out Johnny's lines creatively and speak with intonation and clarity, and write in detail what happened to Johnny Dorset. So let's get to work. Before we actually start reading the story, let's talk about the author a little bit. The story was written by O. Henry, and he was born in 1862 and died in 1910. His original name was William Sidney Porter, and his pen name was O. Henry. His short stories are known for their playful and witty content and their unexpected or surprising ending. Playful and witty means funny content, and every time his story would have a twist, just like you will see in this story. The Ransom of Red Chief is a brilliant example of O. Henry's use of plot twist and humor. You will see that it is a very funny story and you would like to read more of his books. Now before we move on, let's look at the title and the pictures that are there in your book and try to make guesses about what the story is like. Think what the story might be about. Now remember, these are just guesses. You could be wrong, you could be right. We'll figure them out later. You have made your guesses. Now let's see, how much time do you spend outdoors? What sort of games do you play with your friends? Have you ever played games with imaginary characters? And what sort of trouble have you gotten into while playing with your friends? So think about all these questions and let's discuss them before we move on. Now let's look at words to know. Accede, to agree to a demand or a request. Buggy is a horse-drawn cart in this situation. Counter proposition, to offer made as an alternative to a previous one. Foreclose, to take back a property that was bought with the borrowed money because that money is not being paid back as agreed. Or it's also called closing a business, concluding a business. Mortgage, a loan. Prominent, important. Provisions, food, drink, equipment, supplies actually. Scout, a soldier or other person sent out to investigate. Subjugation, to be brought under complete control, to be conquered surreptitiously without being noticed or secretly. Treachery, betrayal of trust. Now I hope you will be able to understand the story. Now your teacher will assign different parts of the story to you from page number 15 till 19. The story is very interesting, so listen carefully. Turn-wise, you will be allowed to read the story. I hope each one of you get an opportunity. Now try to find the answers of the following questions. Best of luck. Now that you have read the story, I hope you thoroughly enjoyed it. I found it very funny. Imagine kidnapping somebody and then having to pay for the kidnapping. How amazing is that? Which part of the United States of America is this story set in? Yes, you are correct. It's set in Alabama. Why did the two men decide to kidnap someone? Well, they wanted $2,000 to buy some land, so they thought they should kidnap someone. What is the first sign we have in the story that the kidnappers have picked a very difficult victim? When Bill is injured by the rock that is thrown at him, that is where we see that they have picked up a very difficult victim. What do we learn about Ebenezer Dorset? We learn that he's a prominent citizen known for his wealth, and he has been lending people money, lending mortgages and making foreclosures to earn money. What other crimes have Sam and Bill committed? Now here your answers might be a little bit different. Everybody would have different answers, so make a list of those answers. Now, what do we learn about Johnny Dorset? Well, we learn that he's a 9-year-old boy, has red hair, talks a lot, is quite violent because he kicks and bites, has a great imagination, and is not popular with his neighbors, and he likes camping. Now, next question. What games did Johnny play? He played a game in which he imagined he was a Red Indian. Why did Bill try to release Johnny before they had the ransom? Bill tried to release Johnny before they had the ransom because he was being driven mad by the boy, and he had been pretending that Bill was his horse. So that was not a very pleasant experience. How did Sam and Bill get Johnny to go home? Sam and Bill got Johnny to go home by telling him that they were going to play with the new toy his father had bought him. Where did Bill say that he would get to in the next 10 minutes? Is that possible, and what does he mean? Well, Bill said that he would be over the Canadian border in 10 minutes, which is not at all possible. He meant that he would be going as far away as he possibly can to get away from Johnny. Now that's funny. Now let's talk about the question answers that are a little bit more difficult. Now this is the lengthy part, so take 5 minutes to think of the answers of these questions. I'll wait. Now, what effect did Johnny have on the two men? Johnny exhausted and enraged and frightened the two men. Now, think of the examples that you can give me about Johnny's actions which frightened and enraged them. Well done, guys. Which characters do you feel sympathy for, and why? Well, I personally would be very sympathetic towards the ones who actually kidnapped Johnny, because they thought that they were going to get an easy victim. But actually, the boy was not at all scared of them. Now, you might have a different answer for this. Answer the following question with reference to the context. At last, I fell into a troubled sleep and dreamed that I had been kidnapped and chained to a tree by a ferocious pirate with red hair. Who is it about? Well, he's thinking that he had been kidnapped by the boy, by Johnny. Sam is actually dreaming this. Why is his sleep troubled? Well, he is troubled because he is scared of the boy. He has kidnapped Johnny, but on the other hand, the boy has scared him. Why is this a strange dream for this character to be having? Well, it is a strange dream for him to be having because he is the actual kidnapper, and he is having nightmares of being kidnapped himself by a young boy. I think Mr. Dorset is generous for making us such an offer. Who is the speaker, and to whom are the words addressed? Well, the speaker of this is Bill, and he is saying this to Sam. Who is Mr. Dorset, and what is his offer? Good job. Mr. Dorset is Johnny's father, and he is offering to take Johnny back if the kidnappers pay him. Why is this offer unusual in the situation? Not to mention very funny. It is usually the other way around. You pay ransom to the kidnappers to get your child back. But over here, the kidnappers are paying the father to give the child back. Now, take 10 minutes and answer these questions in your notebooks. I seriously hope that you enjoyed this story a lot. Let's move on. Now guys, after reading all there is to read about Johnny Dorset, you must be able to write a paragraph about him. Now imagine yourself as Johnny Dorset and write about what happened to you. Use details and phrases from the passage if you wish. Now remember, you can only use them a little bit. You can't use the whole sentences because that would be cheating. Now use first person pronoun, for example I or we. Write the details in 60 to 80 words. Use past tense and use only phrases from the passage. Again, I am warning you, you cannot copy the whole sentences. Add details from the passage in your own words. Now best of luck. Take 20 minutes to complete the task. Now let's talk about homework. Now homework is that you have to complete the questions that we discussed in class in your copies, and you have to work on exercise B, that is working with words. Answer in your notebooks, dictionaries. Here is the second homework for you guys. Note it down and submit it to your teacher according to her instructions. Now before I sign off, let's wrap up the lesson so we understand what you have figured out and what is still unclear. What happened in the story? What type of characters did we come across in the story? And do you think the story is funny, and which part did you find most funny? Your teacher is waiting for your answers, so tell her your answers, and if there is anything not clear, you can ask her. Have a great day.